Okay, so what this means for the clip feature is that you have an input shapefile and a clip shapefile. So perhaps your input file is a forest and your clip feature is maybe a boundary like counties or even state boundaries or something, and you want to find all the forests that are within the county. So you'd have the input layer be the forest and the clip feature be the county, and then you would have the output, all the forest within that county layer, right? And that extracts the forests that are everything that falls within the clip feature layer, the county layer. Oops. The and feature is similar to clipping, but it preserves only those features falling within the spatial extent common to both layers, right? So you have the input and the intersect feature, and that's going to give you an output where both of those intersect. So it's really like the and function, and there is a lot of similarity to the clip function. You can use either and get a very similar output. The union function, right, that's going to take the input shapefiles and combine them really to the output where it combines both the overlap and the areas that do not overlap, right? So union creates a new layer combining the polygon layers of both, and then it creates a new shapefile that has the data and shapes from both of those. Right, so union differs from intersect in that it includes all the features of both, right? So the example is if you have a layer with land ownership and a soil layer, you need to know the types of soil present on your property. You can see both of those shapefiles combined. There's also kind of the opposite of where you combine them is that you can erase them, right? So you can use the erase where you're actually subtracting one layer from another, right? And you can just see the input layer and subtract all the areas. Maybe if you have a forest and you want to subtract all the places where there's private property, right? So then you would have the input layer be the forest, the erase feature being the private property, and the output would be the layer of forest that is not private property. The symmetrical difference is also similar to erase, right? So there's some kind of intersection of the input and another feature and another shapefile, right? And it's going to create an output of where the layers do not overlap. There's also then the append feature, which is similar to a union, right? And so it creates an output where you might be combining different features. So maybe you have two different data files that have information on streams, but one is from county and one is private property, and when you want to combine those together to see all the streams in a region. Right, so some of these features, you could use one or the other really. And so there's multiple ways to get to the output that you're looking for, right? But the key way to think about it is intersect is the same as that and function, and the union is the same as the or function. And there's different ways that you can either structure that in the query window that we saw earlier, SQL, or you can do it using the toolbox where you can choose the intersect or union, right? So it depends on what kind of outcome you're looking for, and you might have to mess around with either of these. And so, these are functions that we're going to be using in lab 11 or 12 if you choose to challenge yourself to completing those labs, even though they're not going to be a part of the grade. And for those of you that have ArcGIS, you have that for a year. For those of you that don't have ArcGIS in the future, I can still give you the software, and at some point, if you do want to download that on a computer you have access to, or when we come back to campus, if you still want to complete those labs to continue your learning about ArcGIS and some of the tools that it has, you can download the labs and keep them for later and mess around with those at another point in time, right? So the common GIS queries that you can do, identity is the same function. You can use that tool, or you could enter it into the SQL box with the combination of variables shown below, right? A plus A and B. Erase is the same as A not B. The symmetrical difference is A or B minus A and B, or you can do the update function, which is A not B plus B, right? And so, I mean, looking at those, it's hard to imagine what you're going to get, but if you start to visualize it spatially and start to test it with different shapefiles, you would see the outcome and become familiar with it and be able to wield those as needed, right? And so all the data within each shapefile is going to be included in the different outputs as you use those tools. Okay, so that's all we have for the logic and operators today. I suggest that you at least become familiar with those Venn diagrams to get that basic understanding of the difference between and, or, and not. And please have a look at the syllabus updated on our Brightspace. And I will keep sharing these videos with you. I will keep having my office hours open, and please do what you can to wrap up Lab 9 and contact me, and I can help you get that finished. Then we just have Lab 10 to get through and the last exam, so we can get through the rest of the semester in GIS. So please let me know what questions you have, and I'm happy to do my best to answer them for you. Have a great day and take care.